Tiferet and Shekhinah. The last Sefirah, Shekhinah, has no light of her own, but reflects the light of the other Sefirot. Okay, here we have the light, here we have the color black or blue associated with Shekhinah, but at other times the Zohar will say that the Shekhinah reflects the Sefirot and has no independent light of her own. But specifically on blue, let's look at the next note, 1345. The mystery of the thread of blue. The blue thread woven into the tassels of one's garment, according to the Torah, the book of Numbers, right, which is part of the Shema. The full recitation of the Shema in the prayer book includes, as its last paragraph, these verses, this verse from the book of Numbers, that you should have on the corner of your garment a thread of blue. Katil techelet. The Hebrew word techelet means blue or a purplish blue. Now look at this book, Sifrei. This is a midrash on the book of Numbers. Rabbi Meir says, whoever fulfills the mitzvah of tzitzit, okay, the tassel or the fringe, is considered to have greeted the face of Shekhinah. So already the midrash connects tzitzit with Shekhinah. If you wear tzitzit, if you're careful to fulfill.
Thank you for the voice text. That sounds like a great idea, but I will definitely probably be sleeping then when you come over. So, yeah.
I'll bring the candle.
That commandment, it's as if you've greeted Shekhinah, as it were. For blue resembles the sea, and the sea resembles the sky, and the sky resembles the throne of glory. The throne of glory meaning the divine throne. So if you wear tzitzit, which are blue, that reminds you of the sea, that reminds you of the sky. The sky reminds you of the throne of glory, where Shekhinah, the divine presence, is enthroned. So that's why he says here, the mystery of the thread of blue. Okay, back to the Zohar. This blue-black throne, okay, we could say Shekhinah, is grasped by another substance below. So it can flame, arousing it to embrace.
Sorry, it's a jump. Say hello to comedian. If you guys want to kick him, at this people. Okay, comedy, you've been warned.
So you're saying Rico Max?
Comedy, you've been warned. Going once.
You're the one that I want.
Going twice. You've been warned 2 times now.
The white light. Okay, again, we have that.
3 warnings. Don't kick him before.
You are the one that I want.
You
are the one that I want. You are the one that I want.
The substance below, so that the fire can't burn unless it's fueled by something beneath it. Look at note 1340.
Coexistence now. 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 Coexistence now.
6 here. Another substance below.
Coexistence now. Coexistence now. Coexistence now.
The flame of the candle feeds on the wick and wax. Similarly, Shekhinah feeds on the realms beneath her. and is thereby enabled to flame and unite with Tiferet. Okay, Shekhinah, the feminine, cannot unite with her partner Tiferet unless she's stimulated, unless she's fueled, unless she's inflamed by something beneath. Right now, he's not saying what that is, but some substance beneath the last of the 10 sefirot. Back to the text. Sometimes this blue-black turns red, while the white light above never wavers, constantly white. So Tiferet is constantly one color. Shekhinah could be blue or black, sometimes also red. Why red? Look at note 1347. Because sometimes this blue-black turns red when Shekhinah is influenced by Gevurah, the attribute of strict judgment. She's tinged with the color red. Okay, looking at our diagram here, Malchut or Shekhinah is influenced by this sefirah, by the sefirah on the left, Gevurah, power, or Din, judgment. Its color is red. Chesed is white, and here we've seen that white imbues Tiferet. Tiferet becomes white. But Shekhinah can sometimes be affected by harsh powers of judgment, and that would bring out a red tone. She could be tinged with red. Back to the Zohar. This is grasped in two directions, above by that white light, below by what lies beneath, by which it is fueled, primed to glow. Okay, so Shekhinah is grasped above by Tiferet, the white light, and Shekhinah is grasped below. Again, the Zohar is being very elusive, very enigmatic. The Zohar doesn't say what Shekhinah is being grasped by below. Zohar just says below by what lies beneath, by which Shekhinah is fueled, primed to glow. This constantly consumes and devours what is placed beneath it. For the blue light consumes anything cleaving below, anything it rests upon, since by nature it consumes and devours. On it depends destruction and death of all. So Shekhinah is a consuming fire. It will burn whatever is beneath it, and because of that, it's connected here to destruction and death. So it consumes anything cleaving below, while that white light hovering over it never devours or consumes, nor does its light waver. Therefore, Moses said, "For Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, your God, is a devouring fire." Okay, it's going back to one of those verses in Deuteronomy, where Deuteronomy is attributed to Moses. So if it's in Deuteronomy, Moses said it. Moses says God is a devouring fire. And remember, the Talmud describes that as Shekhinah, the fire devouring other fire, really devouring and consuming anything found below. That is why Moses said, "Your God, not our God." For Moses inhabited that white light above, which does not consume or devour. Okay, he's wondering, why does the Torah say that Moses said, "Your God"? Why does it Moses say, why does it Moses say, "For Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, our God is a devouring fire"? Why does Moses say, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, "For Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, your God is a devouring fire"? Moses is speaking to Israel, and he somehow doesn't include himself. He says, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, your God. But the Zohar says that Moses said, "Your God," and not our God, because Moses inhabits a higher realm. Moses inhabits the realm of Tiferet. Okay, Moses attained that rung. Okay, most people, or you could say the Jewish people, is identified with Shekhinah. They can reach that level of Malchut through great devotion. But Moses attained a higher level. He reached the level of Tiferet, the white light. So he doesn't say, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, our God is a consuming fire, a devouring fire. He says, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, your God is a devouring fire, because he abides in the realm of Tiferet, and that white light, Tiferet, Moses' rung, Moses' sefirah, does not consume or devour. Let's pause here. there's a little bit more of it I want to explore in the Zohar passage, but let's pause here and see if any questions have come up. And Ari, please, you can, if there's something in the chat or if someone has a hand raised, we could pause for a minute and explore this.
You've been very quiet today in the chat. I guess I'll give people a moment by asking two quick questions. One is, you talk about this underlying concept or important concept in the Zohar, in the Kabbalah, about being the unification of male and female. Is that explicitly stated that way, or is it just all implicit and therefore it becomes explicit once you have read the whole Zohar?
Yeah, the passage we have here, there's hardly anything there that would suggest there's actual union, actual romance. You do have that phrase, embracing one another. But other places in the Zohar, it's much more overt, really full, even graphic descriptions of the union of the male and female. The Zohar is sometimes subtle and very often enigmatic and cryptic, but it's clear that there's a divine romance. Now remember, this is all really just glimpses of the divine. Ultimately, the Zohar would insist that God is beyond description, right? God cannot be captured in our words or images. So Ein Sof, the infinite, there it's just a realm of pure oneness. There you don't have different qualities, different aspects. But once you reach this realm of the 10 Sefirot, there you really do have God described in very personal, very anthropomorphic ways, right? Maimonides, who tried to eliminate anthropomorphism, right? Human descriptions of God, Maimonides tried to eliminate those as much as he could. But the Zohar reacts against Maimonides and says, ultimately God cannot be described. Ultimately God is Ein Sof. But most of the Zohar is about the Sefirot and not about Ein Sof. And so you do have really full descriptions of that divine romance.
In your notes, where you quote from the beginning of the section, we quote from the Talmud, where they're explaining these verses, the Yud Hey Vav Hey. In the notes, they just jump to Shekhinah already. In the Talmud, do they just automatically say that Yud Hey Vav Hey from those two verses is the Shekhinah, or is it you using Shekhinah in that context in your notes so we can put two and two together?
Yeah, it's a really, really good question. For the Zohar, Yud Hey Vav Hey would rarely signify Shekhinah. Yud Hey Vav Hey could signify Tiferet or all of the 10 Sefirot. It would be unusual for Yud Hey Vav Hey specifically to denote Shekhinah. So what we're seeing there in the Talmud is really, it really shows us the development of Shekhinah. Okay, in Rabbinic Judaism, you never have a description. You're going back to your first question, the union of the male and female within God. In the Talmud, you would never find that. You never find in the Talmud a description of the male and female parts of God uniting. There are one or two hints to a female divine quality. What I mean is Shekhinah, okay, which we see now as feminine because of the Kabbalah. Shekhinah